how's it going, folks? Another video, same day, per usual. Try to get 2 of these in every time I go out for shits and giggles. No real reason aside from once I start talking, I really like talking. Anyways, I want to talk about journaling today. Something I never really did a whole lot of, but now I'm doing. So hey, let's get into it. I had to go fishing. I finally got all of my fishing poles out of storage. Well, I had them all stored in my boat, but with the way gas prices are right now, I haven't taken my boat out yet, and I don't really have any intention of taking it out. So I took all the fishing poles out, and I'm gonna go fishing sometime. Don't know when, but the red cedar here would be a good spot. Anyways, journaling. Yes, I have decided to start journaling every single day for 600 days. Why 600, you're asking? That is a phenomenal question, and I'm happy to answer that for you right now. It's because I decided that, you know, I've been really slacking off in life, as you can tell by not uploading videos, by having to be months in between recordings. You know, just really been slacking off in life, and life's just felt like a mess. And quite frankly, I think it's my fault that my life has been that way. So I wanted something that would be a constant and would really force me to be introspective and kind of figure my shit out. And well, I'm a fan of Stoicism, and the Stoics were ardent journalers. I mean, if you ever read the book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, that's all it was him journaling. You could even call it a diary, I guess, if you really, go ahead, if you really wanted to. So yes, I bought a pack of composition notebooks, you know, like the speckly black and white ones that everybody has used at some point in their life. Bought a 6-pack of those and committed to 100 pages. Well, each one's made up of 100 pages. I bought a 6-pack, 600 days, just under 2 years worth of journaling I am committing to. And lucky for you, I just started 3 days ago. And to prove that I'm actually committed, yesterday I was going to bed, and I laid in bed, and I was in bed for like 10 minutes. So one thing I'll say is I've been trying really hard to spend less time exercising or riding a bike, going for walks and such without headphones in. Try to be a little bit more aware and present and in the moment, not listening to a podcast or music and such. When I'm recording these videos, I think I'm going to stick to it and just not record while listening to music or something. But I think I gotta keep them in my ear, because those people just think you're fucking nuts talking to yourself, which I guess I am, technically. I mean, you don't see this until like a week or 2 after it's recorded, but when you have these headphones in, people just think, oh, he's on the phone. They don't look at you as funny. Tell you what, I don't know what that water right there was, but kind of smelled like shit, literally. So I kind of think it might have been some not so clean water. I'm glad I bunny hopped off that ledge there rather than riding through it. All right, so back to journaling. As I said, have committed to journaling for 600 days in a row, because I figured if the Stoics were ardent believers in it, if Marcus Aurelius, one of the best leaders and most committed and inspirational figures of all time, did it, then shit, maybe I should do it too. And I don't really know what the end goal of that will be, if it will ever be a thing where I go back and I read it, or if I will just straight up not do anything with it, and it's just a practice that I adopt and never do anything else with. Like never go back and read them. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'll ever make them public either, just because, I don't know, maybe I will. I suppose we'll see how it goes after maybe 6 months to a year. Again, I wouldn't stop at that point, but you know, if I feel that it was highly beneficial and that there was something, I don't know, there's some real benefit, and I can point to specific things that I wrote down of like, this was important, or this was something that really resonated with me, hit on a certain level, and you know, maybe I will share that. But as of right now, I don't have any intention to. I gotta tell you guys, my tires are going flat. Like actually going flat. Oh, I'd say they're probably like, I don't know, 10 to 20 psi below what I'd really like them to be, which isn't ideal, but we're gonna make it back to where we started at least. Then take the bike home and fill it up with air, because it is tough to pedal like this. I'm telling you. Another reason I decided to start journaling again is because I did use that. So, all right, so I never consistently journaled before. It just wasn't something I did, wasn't something I was really interested in. But I would journal during very difficult points in life. I think I've talked about it in previous videos where I said, you know, if you go through a breakup or if you lose someone, write it down. You know, write down your thoughts, write down what you would be saying to them or what you want to say to them. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Like, let that emotion leave you. And I mean, that doesn't mean like, oh, write it down and you won't be sad anymore. No, you'll be sad. You'll have these moments, but this overbearing weight, you allow that to exit. You release that. And I think that's a very important thing to do. So like I said in the past, you know, I used that when my grandpa passed away and I wanted to say certain things. I'd write it down. I mostly used lyrics and song through that. Not even necessarily like a, oh, I miss you, I'm so sad, you know, kind of thing, which sure, I'm sure there were songs I wrote at that time that were like that, at least lyrically. But for the most part, the stuff was, here's a song from like about my my grandparents' love for one another, right? About their relationship. And it wasn't obvious that it was about that. It was really written from a like first person perspective, but I wrote it about them. Or another song about thoughts that I was having at that time. But it was all lessons that I had learned from him. And at no point did I like, my granddad told me, kind of thing. That's not the system I wanted to use for it. It was just like different lessons that I had learned, and I was just discussing the lessons or things that were said to me. The only real reference in that entire song was, it was something about, I would have to look back and see if I can find the lyrics, but there's something about, oh shit, what was it? I don't remember the word, but it was, now I am, you know, insert whatever the phrase was here, because that's how you made me. Or that's how you taught me. Or just as you made me. I don't know. That's really the only reference that I even had that this song was about somebody, right? That it wasn't just random thoughts I had one day kind of thing. Let's see, can I make it? Yes, I can. Or, you know, after the rejected marriage proposal and all of that, you know, breaking up with somebody, you know, you talk to them all day, every day, spend a large chunk of your day every day with this person, and all of a sudden you break up and it's like, shit, now what? You know, I think people take for granted how much they, especially now, how easy it is to communicate with the people that we love. I need to replace these brakes already. You hear that? Squeak, 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 squeak. Yeah, me too. It's annoying. Anyways, I think we take it for granted just how much we communicate with people. We see something funny, we hear something, we have a thought, we just decide, make a decision on something, and we just text that person now or call them. Or if we don't do that in that moment right there, we do it later on in the day. When we see them, we're like, oh yeah, you know, there was like this happened and then this happened. And in that situation, you know, where I was like, well, I can't message them. You know, I don't really know what to do, but I got all of these thoughts and things I want to say in my mind that I was trying to write it out as like, here's a letter to you that I was never going to mail. You know, it was just a, here's a letter. And it just was essentially going to say everything I wanted to say, but I just didn't have the chance to say, or I couldn't say now. And that wasn't working for me. For whatever reason, it wasn't working. But what I decided, what I then decided to do was just, I carried around a little notebook with me. And as something would happen, that I would be like, oh, this is something I would tell them about. Or, oh, this is, you know, here's something funny I just saw. Or here's something cool that I just thought of. What I would do is I'd just write that out and be like, oh man, you won't believe this. Like, I thought you'd think this is funny. Here's something I just saw. Again, I'd write it down. No intention of ever mailing it out. It wasn't in a text. It wasn't like this person's ever gonna see it, but that worked. That it turned out that it was, and I guess this isn't journaling, but it's related, and I hope it helps somebody. It turns out it wasn't so much that I mean, I obviously missed the person, and I was dealing with that, but the part that I was struggling with the most was that for years, I could just tell them stuff like as it happened. It was like, like, hey, I thought this was funny, you know, or hey, I thought you'd like this. And then all of a sudden you can't do that anymore. And it was that habit that was just really difficult to break, and I was struggling to do that. So journaling, I guess, in that manner really helped me out, and that ended up serving as the replacement for that habit of messaging them anytime something happened that I wanted to share. But now when I write, you know, it's also interesting to see how you write differently than how you speak. And it's not that you're necessarily being inauthentic, because I'd say I'm pretty authentic. I mean, I ended last night's entry, the final line, I guess I'll share this. I just said I'm not going to share any of this publicly, and yeah, I guess I am now. Last night's line that ended was, insecurity's a bitch. Because of everything I was writing about, that was just something that was on my mind, and I just said it. And it's true, and I think people would agree with it, you know, that, yeah, insecurity is a bitch. I've actually never seen this school before. No, that's actually not true. I think in a bike video we saw it from a very far distance. But yeah, Robert Greene Elementary School, never seen that before. Granted, I don't really ride my bike out this way a whole lot. Usually we're kind of taking a trail system if we're going out towards like Chandler Crossing or something. We're taking that trail system rather than side roads here, so that's cool. Anyways, but I did notice that the way I write is very different than the way I speak, and I think that lends credence to, or credibility. I don't know which word I'm looking for here. I'm not trying to sound smart. I actually don't know what word I'm looking for. We all speak and behave differently depending on the situation we're in. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not being authentic. It just means that, the way that you talk to your friends is going to be a little bit different than the way you talk to your grandma, right? Hopefully, at least. I know for me, usually, it doesn't mean that I don't crack the inappropriate joke or, swear a little bit more than I really should, which is probably something else I should work on. But, we behave differently. We speak differently at work than we do around our family. I speak differently. If you watch the Work in Michigan podcast versus the old Implement Impact episodes versus this bike channel, it's pretty obvious that I speak differently. It doesn't mean that I'm not being myself. Humans are not one-dimensional. We're multi-dimensional. I was about to go down like a whole rabbit hole with that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay focused. All right, stay focused. So as I was saying, humans are multi-dimensional. It's funny because it's, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say like, oh, it's a presentation, right? And I don't want that to sound like, oh, so what you are isn't real. No, here I'm way more casual. Talk a lot more about personal stuff than I do on the podcast, where it's a lot more professional, which, it's still pretty casual. We talk about music or, baking or business, whatever comes up. But if any of you who are listening have ever been a guest on the show, you know that before we're leading up, I always talk to the people for 5, 10, 15 minutes before, just to kind of get everybody comfortable, make sure that we're all on the same page, everything's good. And then it's like, all right, well, I'm going to start recording the podcast now. We'll do this countdown, then we'll do this intro. And when it's like, all right, you good? Yep. All right. Hello, everybody. Like the voice changes. Like it's not something I ever intended to do. It's just something that it happened, and that's now just the intro to the podcast, I guess. But yes, journaling. I guess I don't really know how to describe it. It would almost be more. I'm certainly, and I think it is maybe a little reflective of the way that my brain works when I'm thinking to myself. A lot more pondering, philosophical, questioning. When I speak, I'm a little bit more like, this is what I think and this is why I think it. And am I wrong? Maybe. But, there's a lot more confidence, maybe, assertiveness. Then when I'm writing, I'm like asking a lot more questions, pondering. Just the language I use and everything's different. And it's been interesting. Again, it's only been 3 days, but every single one of those days, that's just how it's been. And I haven't tried to do that. It's just, I guess, how I've been talking. I don't know. But yeah, so an update. I'm going to be journaling. If you feel like, something's going on in your life and you don't really know what it is that's bothering you or what's going on or how to fix some shit in your life, perhaps considering journaling would be a good move. And it would give you, just commit to it for 30 days, right? I bet you you'll feel better, and then go back on those 30 days and read what you said, and you might actually notice some patterns of what it is that's bothering you, that your brain is so focused on everything so much, so often, that you haven't had time to sit down, reflect, and analyze what exactly it is that's bothering you. But by going back and reading what you wrote, how you're feeling in that moment, that's where you might notice some trends. Anyways, I think that that might be something worth doing. I would recommend it at least. Give it a shot. Worst case scenario, you do it for 30 days. You know, still can't figure it out. It only took a couple minutes every day. Oh, and I guess for reference, I'm writing a page, 1 to 2 pages every day. Like 1 page is the front side, 2 pages will be front and back. 1 to 2 pages. That is to force myself to write at least a page, but also not ramble forever, and be concise enough that it's like, you can use 2 pages, but you really got to aim for 1. But if you need 2, well, here you go. But you can't write more than 2. You got to be concise enough to fit on 2 pages, which is generous, I think. But give it a shot. You know, as I was saying, worst case scenario, you know, if you don't feel like you gained anything out of it, honestly, and something's still bothering you, go talk to a doctor, go talk to a therapist. You know, I think that don't neglect your mental health. Don't do as I do, where admittedly I neglect my mental health way more than what I should, and I'm hoping journaling can fix that. Anyways, folks, you know the routine, going grocery shopping. Actually, I might be going out to the Eastwood Town Center first. So, hey, anyways, that's what I'm going to be doing. But thank you as always for listening. I will keep you posted on how the journaling goes. Hold me to it. Make sure I stick to it. 600 days. We will see. Anyways. Oh, all right. He saw me, but I wasn't sure, so that's why I put the camera down. Anyways, until next time, everybody, have a great day.